Hello and welcome to another edition of Convict Inc. I'm your host, Robert Rosso. It is March the 1st. March the 1st. There's a lot of people that are watching these videos that aren't subscribers. That watch all these videos that aren't subscribers. I'm asking you to subscribe, if you will. So if you keep coming back and so I can tell that there's a lot of people by the analytics and this or that. And I had somebody kind of go look into it and they're just like, man, you got a lot more people that are watching than are actual subs. There's about 40 that dropped out one day that stopped. I was off for a week because of the infection and other issues. That slowed down the growth of this channel. And then I came out with a membership announcement. 40 dropped that day. 2 or 3 came back, and then it's been growing steadily again, slower, but steady. But hey, I'm over 5,600, and for a channel this new, that is like phenomenal. That's really, really I'm grateful for that and many other things in my life. So please please do subscribe if you're frequently coming back. Please hit the like button. I'm going live. I was going to go live today, being March the 1st. I have to go to probation in a couple hours, just to meet up with them, piss test, all that other stuff. And then I have a bunch of other stuff to do, and then somebody's come over later for some quotes on some stuff. So doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do it. I'm going to go at 12 o'clock noon tomorrow on Patreon. I'm starting to do a daily show on Patreon at noon, and that's going to start tomorrow. I will go live on YouTube at 5 o'clock Arkansas time, so 6 o'clock New York time. Notice I didn't say East Coast time. Isn't New York the East Coast? just starting to start shit. Anyway, so yeah, 6 o'clock Eastern time. All right. When I entered the United States Penitentiary, Leavenworth, Kansas, in September of 1998, I had a fresh life sentence. I was under direct appeal. I had an attorney named John Wesley Hall out of Little Rock, Arkansas. I was supposed to be the great, phenomenal John Wesley Hall, this big, bad, awesome attorney. Okay. John was a fun guy. He took my money, $25,000. He came and said, hey, I'm John. And the next time I saw him was the night before we went to trial. He was one of these no-snitch attorneys. He was the 6th attorney I actually got. I had 5 prior to him that I hired and fired. I was a difficult client, to say the least. John went in there and put on some little show, and we all, you're going to get life, you know that, right? Everybody expected me just to get life, even my attorney, and it was just one of those things. Now, he is supposed to be like one of the great appellant attorneys, and he did do a good job on my appeal, but a new case came out called Jones Apprendi. Jones was the first case that went into Apprendi. Any legal guys know what I'm talking about? I'm sorry, I'm not going to get into the weeds on that. But I went to Leavenworth and I met a guy who was an outstanding jailhouse lawyer. I'm going to call him Ronald. It's not his real name. Ronald was good friends with my cellie, Tommy Rutledge. Tommy Rutledge, character out of New York. He's still in prison today. People are trying to get him out right now. This guy, Ronald, was the first person I sent money to in prison. People have asked me about my financial situation because I talk about drugs, buying drugs, all these grams, all this stuff I did. I had my family took care of me. My family, some friends, then my wife. There was a time at Lewisburg when I didn't have any money sent. There was $1,800 one time that I lost on a gambling bet that I needed money for, and I think $1,500 another time. So from 2003 to 2007, there was actually almost 4 years. Nobody sent me money I didn't need to because I was hustling and I made so much money in that prison. But anyway, so getting back, Ronald was a jailhouse lawyer, and I did not trust John Wesley Hall because of what happened at my trial. He did do a good appeal and argument. I wanted to add a supplemental brief. I hired this guy, Ronald, and paid him $2,500 to write a supplemental brief that the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals wouldn't take, but I paid him anyway. That's how I started sending money. The first money I ever sent wasn't a drug deal. It wasn't a contraband deal. It was all over $2,500 for Ronald to do a supplemental brief for the 8th Circuit. When that appeal did not go through, I then turned around and paid Ronald $5,000 to do my 2255. Back in the day, Leavenworth had some really outstanding jailhouse lawyers. 25 was kind of the basic fee, $2,500. If you got somebody to give you do a 1,000, then there's guys that would crank out shit for $500, but they were just trying to make money. The real good ones charged more because they gave you more of their time also. Ronald was good. I had no problem paying this guy $5,000. No problem whatsoever. Especially since some of that money was mine at the time. Anyway, also what I started doing, this guy Ronald started making a lot of money within the prison. Stamps, prison currency. So stamps, what you do is somebody has 100 books of stamps. Back in the day, books of stamps were worth $5 a book. So I think they're like 32 to 34 cent stamps, but they're worth a quarter on the compound. A book of stamps is 20, was worth $5. Prison economy is a little different. So Ronald started selling me stamps. Now, if I remember correctly, I didn't send him all 5,000 for my 2255. A 2255, for people who don't know, just think of it as a second appeal. That's all you need to know. It's your second appeal in the feds. So I think I sent Ronald like 4,000, but then I started buying stamps from him. So there was still like a bill of $1,000 that was outstanding on my original 2255 brief. And that lingered for like 6 months to a year, but I was buying like $1,000 worth of stamps off this guy, Ronald, all the time. So what I wasn't doing is just paying the balance of that bill. Follow me? Okay. Here's what went down. I used to go to the hole a lot. There was a day in 2001. That's when it happened. So no, it was in 2000 when I owed a lot of money on the compound, like $7,000. And it was gambling, drugs, it was all of it. And I had purchased a bunch of stamps from Ronald, and I had paid everybody back. So this was like over a month or a month and a half, I ran up close to 7,000. So much so that my parents ended up taking a drive from Arkansas to Leavenworth and to see what the fuck was going on. So what happens was I went back to the hole. Everybody got their money, but there was still a $1,000 outstanding bill towards Ronald. Ronald had been talking to my mom frequently. And the reason he was is because he didn't have nobody on the streets at the time. His grandmother was like 89 years old and failing. And my mom started talking to his grandma. And I used to use Ronald's phone because I didn't have any phone. My phone privileges were taken away. So I used to use Ronald's phone. So he had all my numbers to my family and friends on his phone. Well, one day he decides to, first he wrote a letter, I believe, to my mom saying something about owing money. Then he called and made the comment like, well, you paid all his drug debts, but you haven't paid mine. My mom writes me a letter, I'm in the chute, and says, Ronald said that I paid all your drug debts, but I didn't pay him off. What's going on? Well, that's all it took right there. So at that point, everything else in my life, I don't know what was going on, but I decided right then and there, because this guy called my mom and mentioned drugs. My family's not stupid. They just don't want to hear somebody calling from a prison phone saying that. I decided right then and there, that I was going to assault him. That was it. It was over. I was in the shoe. So I started plotting. As a matter of fact, I then got on the phone, was able to use the phone, and started contacting attorneys because I was going to need somebody to finish my case. Ronald did the brief, but I was going to need people to respond. And I hired a guy out of Arkansas named James Pierce for 10 grand. Anyway, I got out of the chute about December the 2nd. This is important, 2000. A friend of mine, my good bro, Dusty, this will be the number one, first of 3 assaults that we did together. He didn't like this guy, Ronald, because he had just caught an introduction case with the Emmy, with Negro. And he went to this guy for help. And this guy, Ronald, said, hey, yeah, I can help you out, send me 5,000 or something like that, knowing that Dusty didn't have that kind of money. Dusty wanted to travel. He'd already been in Leavenworth like 6 years at the time. So he's like, you know what, fuck this guy. We're going to go smash this dude out together. Now, it wasn't just Ronald that was supposed to get hit. It was actually supposed to be Tommy Rutledge, just to put it out there. Why Tommy Rutledge? Tommy Rutledge I liked. He was a friend of mine, my cellie for years, 56 years old at the time, I think. The reason why is because I knew that if I got it, I wanted to go back out on the compound. I wanted to stay at Leavenworth. Winners usually stayed, losers usually left. That's how Leavenworth did it. But if somebody like Ronald, who had a lot of people that he was doing legal work for, would want to get him back out over me. Tom Rutledge would have been the catalyst to that. He would have made sure that Ronald came back out. So I knew that we had to get rid of Tom at the same time. That morning, they were supposed to both be in the chow hall. Actually, they're supposed to be drinking coffee in Tommy's cell. Went down there. They weren't there. I worked the chow hall that morning. I got this guy Ronald also was running the kitchen, and when I got out of the hole, because I didn't pay him the money I owed, he fucked me and put me as a line server. So I actually had to be a line server that morning. There came a point to where there was a plan, like at 6:15, I left the line, went and did a shot of heroin. Yes, shot of heroin. And we were gonna go assault Tommy and this guy Ronald. That was the game plan. It was always a game plan to do drugs first or drink first before we went and did anything, because that's like the last hurrah. Some people, I mean, I have some people left comments, you had to do everything with alcohol and drugs or whatever. Maybe that's it. Yeah, maybe I'm just such a fucking pussy that I couldn't do nothing without alcohol and drugs. If that makes you feel better, fine. But it was always like, we're gonna go to the hole, so let's get fucked up and let's go do this or do this. All right, so I left the line like I was supposed to. I never forget the officer yelling, hey, get back here, get back here. And I just kept going like I didn't even see him. Went, searched for Ronald and Tom with Dusty. They weren't there. Ended up going outside, and Wilbur, who's a dirty white boy, who I did a video about, I'll never forget, we're walking the track, and we changed the game plan. We're going to go assault dude Ronald alone at Shortline. Shortline is for workers. I had kitchen whites on, meaning white clothes. All the kitchen workers wear white clothes. I had kitchen whites. Dusty had got some kitchen whites, put them on so we can fake like we're both going to Shortline. It was a Meatloaf Tuesday. I'll never forget that too. Terrible. I just stopped because was it Tuesday or was it Monday? I just gelled out because I thought I just thought hamburgers was Tuesday. Man, anyway, you guys at Leavenworth can correct me. They were there. Anyway, I remember it was like a meatloaf day, whatever that was. So we end up getting in. We go to short lines, 10:30 chow. We get our food. We put our trays down. As we put our trays down, in comes a dude named Trent. Trent's from North Carolina. I may have not have mentioned him in the video. Wine's cheap, balls deep. Whatever. Trent was one of these guys that was tough about owing money to. Dusty owed him a bunch of money. So here we're going to do some hit, and Trent comes to Dusty and starts, wow, Dusty, you owe me money. I always had good standing with dude. So we just got high, but I go back and I'm like, hey, Trent, you got papers? He's like, man, yeah, I got some papers. You got money? I'm like, man, I got money back in the house. You know I'm good for this money. How many do you want? So I got like, was it 4 papers? Was it 2? Was it half? I wrote a story about this before, and I can't remember, but it was at least probably 4 papers. So that's $200 worth of stamps because he was $50 straight up. So I grabbed the dope, knowing I'm about to go assault this dude. Just pull the bullshit move. Yeah, give me the dope. Yeah, I got you, bro. Don't worry about it. Matter of fact, I left our table where we were, walked over to him and went and got drugs, grabbed them. By the time I got the drugs in my hand, walked over to the table, I sit down. Here comes Ronald out of the back, grabs his tray, and walks straight over to me and Dusty. I gotta back up 1 second. I'm sorry. I said something about Wilbur. When we were walking the yard talking about the assault we were getting ready to do, they were very concerned that I was gonna take it too far. Why? because I had a life sentence. They used to always worry that I was going to take it to the next level, like I was going to try to earn my life sentence by killing somebody. So they were like, don't kick him in the head, Rob, whatever you do. Let Dusty punch him. He's got a better punch than you. He did, by far. Let Dusty knock him out. When you guys stomp him, blah, blah, blah. This was the conversation. Also, the chow hall like wasn't the best place to do things. Short line was different than main line. People consider that a check-in move sometimes because you're going to get caught if you do it in the chow hall. We didn't care really about getting caught. There wasn't that many people during short line, so that's kind of a good time to actually assault somebody. If you're trying to get away with it, the doors are open. Now, if the doors are locked, that's different because sometimes those doors were open. But anyway, we didn't care about getting caught or not. We got limited to the chow hall because, we chose the chow hall because this guy did not come back until count time, and then he went back to the kitchen again. So he lived in the kitchen, this Ronald guy. It's where he had an office and everything. He had a full-on office to do legal work. So, all right, so here he comes. Here comes Ronald, beeline straight for us. Dusty gets up and says, hey, Ronald, you like the cake? And has the cake and blasts this dude. Boom, knocks him smooth out. He falls in between the tables. When Dusty said that to Ronald had just sat down. Dusty came from getting a second tray, grabbed the cake, walked up on him as he said it, and punched him at the same time. So Ronald was actually sitting down. When he fell and the punch knocked him out, I then commenced to stomping him with my boots. And I'm going to tell you, I didn't even mean it. Every time I kicked this guy, it was a complete face and head shot. Kaboom, kaboom. It was a pretty vicious. So I had kitchen whites on, and I was completely covered in blood. And when the staff saw there was only one staff member in that kitchen. He was behind the line. One. He screamed, "No, not Ronald," and came running, hit the alarm. Here comes everybody running in. I kept stomping until the staff tackled me. They took him off the ground. He was conscious, unconscious. They had to drag him out. He went to the outside. He got hurt. So they had to take him outside. Outside hospitals, what I'm saying. So he leaves. Staff comes. I hear them talk about this was a dirty white boy hit. This is a dirty white boy hit. Now, my adrenaline's pumping. I got those drugs on me. Got the drugs in my sock. Remember those papers of dope that I just burned? Oh, by the way, Trent's like, God damn, you got me. I heard him out of the corner. I can see him just like, you got me, son of a bitch. You knew what you were going to do. You got me. The dude I got the drugs from. Yeah, it's comeback shit. Okay, so they then take Dusty to the hallway, block the hallway. They take me, and I don't know why I ended up going to the lieutenant's office. I don't remember to this day, but anyway, they cuffed my hand behind my back. I've got kitchen whites on, and a guy came in, and I'd never seen before, and he looked almost like Jimmy Carter. He reminded me of Jimmy Carter in his younger days, President Jimmy Carter, and he had his hair kind of like on the side, but kind of like flat. So this guy walks in and he's like, who the fuck are you to be assaulting somebody in my chow hall? And Sims, I think, was a lieutenant. He's like, this is Rosso. He's part of the dirty white boys. I go, you fucking idiot. I'm not a fucking dirty white boy. I wasn't then, nor did I want to be. I'm not a fucking dirty white boy, you fucking lame. That's exactly, I was saying, that's what I was saying. And there's staff everywhere. And at some point, the guy said, well, who are you? And I said, who the fuck are you? And he said, who the fuck am I? Got in my face. And he took my kitchen white shirt and ripped it open. Wow. Looking for a dirty white boy tattoo, which I did not have. And he says, I'm the new warden. My name is Mickey Ray. Yeah. Just who the fuck are you? I'm the warden, Mickey Ray. So I end up having a long history with Mickey Ray, and I'll get into, man, maybe I'll just do the chronological order from here on out. Probably the best, right? I'm going to stop here. But now there are wardens that it's their pet peeve that people should not be assaulting somebody in the chow hall. Why? Because a riot can easily break out in the chow hall. As far as inmates, prisoners, convicts go, don't ever assault somebody in the chow hall because that's a check-in move. I get that too. It's a check-in move until like that another person does it that's not a known check-in. You know, like I can name some examples of when some armed guys attack somebody in the chow hall, but that wasn't a check-in move. You know what I mean? So it just depends. But all in all, you go to federal prison, it's not a good idea to hit somebody in the chow hall unless you want to get caught, unless you are trying to pull a check-in move. Also, they really frown on it more, and you can get like a higher series shot. They can give you like give you a 100 instead of a 200 if they want to play games with you. So that's the moral of that story. But anyway, so this all came about because honestly, like I didn't send this dude $1,000, but it was actually an accident. I don't even know why he didn't get it, because it wasn't about not being able to send him money. And he called my mom. I'll say this, probably I could have won that $22.55 if I would have him responding. There was a trick to it. It was back in the day. I don't know what would have happened in my life. If I would have got out back then, I would have immediately went back to dealing drugs again. Oh, my head would have been this big. I just overturned a life sentence only a couple years in. Oh my God, I would have been a monster. Really, so it worked out a lot better. I will say this too. Today, me and Ronald are friends. He got a hold of me, and yeah, we're friends. Anyway, take care. Tomorrow, 5 o'clock Arkansas time, live. I don't know how I'm going to do this. So maybe I'll tell a story and have you guys come on, and I don't know, whatever. Just for free for all. Fuck it. Do whatever we do. Take care.